What happens when late-night comedy crosses the line? Barron Trump became the unexpected target of a joke, but Melania Trump wasn't about to let it slide. Her bold move sparked a national debate about the power of words, the boundaries of humor, and a mother's fight for her son's dignity. This story is about more than a joke. It's about values that matter. Stay tuned until the end to find out how the story concludes. The night began like any other in the world of prime-time television. In a buzzing New York City studio, the crowd cheered as the host, known for his razor-sharp humor and edgy takes, kicked off his monologue. But the energy in the room shifted dramatically when his jokes unexpectedly landed on Barron Trump, the youngest son of the former First Lady and President. The punchline was quick and cutting, unmistakably aimed at the teenager. Laughter rippled unevenly through the audience. Some chuckled nervously, while others sat in uncomfortable silence. What was framed as humor felt more like a personal attack on a child who had stayed well outside the spotlight. Within hours, the moment was everywhere. Social media lit up, hashtags like Barron Trump exploded, and opinions came fast and fierce. Some called the joke heartless and uncalled for, while others rallied behind the host, defending it as just comedy. By the next morning, news outlets had jumped on the story, fueling fiery debates about where to draw the line in the name of entertainment. High above the lively streets of Manhattan, Melania Trump sat in her penthouse, the golden glow of the city lights streaming through the windows. Her face, usually composed and serene, now flickered with emotions, shock, disbelief, and a growing fury as she watched the clip play out on her screen. The laughter, the careless words, they pierced through her like daggers. For years, she had worked tirelessly to protect her son Barron from the harsh and often cruel scrutiny that came with their public life. She had endured countless attacks, always choosing to remain composed and rise above. But this time? This wasn't just another petty insult. This was personal. It was a direct affront to her son's innocence and, by extension, to her own role as a mother. The pain she felt quickly hardened into determination. She knew she couldn't let this one slide, not this time. By the next morning, her response was everywhere. A sharply worded statement was released, condemning the joke as both harmful and wildly inappropriate. Her words struck a chord with many, drawing widespread support from those who recognized the cruelty in targeting a child. But as the controversy gained momentum, Melania realized that a statement alone wouldn't suffice. Words, no matter how powerful, wouldn't be enough to bring real accountability. After careful deliberation, she made a bold decision that would send shockwaves through the media landscape. She would take legal action. Filing a lawsuit against both the host and the network responsible, Melania's move was unprecedented but deliberate. The suit accused them of defamation and intentional infliction of emotional distress, arguing that their so-called humor had crossed every imaginable line of decency. This wasn't about stifling free speech or shutting down criticism. It was about drawing a line in the sand. It was about standing up for a child's right to dignity and respect, something every parent could understand. As news of the lawsuit broke, it dominated headlines, sparking debates across the country. Some applauded her for taking a stand, while others questioned the implications of her actions. But for Melania, it wasn't about the noise. It was about principle. The battle had begun, and she was ready to fight it, not just for Barron, but for every child who deserved to be treated with humanity and respect. The lawsuit landed like a lightning bolt, electrifying the nation and splitting public opinion. On one side, supporters rallied behind Melania Trump, hailing her as a mother, fiercely defending her son against public ridicule. Parents across the country flooded social media with messages of solidarity, their voices echoing the sentiment. No child should be the target of cruel jokes. But not everyone agreed. Critics fired back, accusing Melania of waging war on free expression. Late-night comedians and pundits argued that public figures and their families should expect to be the subject of satire, no matter their age. The clash of viewpoints turned into a national debate that touched every corner of the media landscape. As the storm swirled, Barron Trump stayed firmly out of the spotlight. Friends described him as a quiet, private teenager, content to ignore the circus around him. But for Melania, this wasn't about headlines or public opinion. It was about defending her son's dignity and drawing a line against what she saw as unacceptable behavior. The fallout from the lawsuit hit the late-night show like a tidal wave. Sponsors began pulling their ads, wary of the negative press, and the once charismatic host seemed noticeably subdued in his next episodes. Yet, in a defiant move, he refused to apologize, doubling down by labeling the lawsuit an attack on comedy itself. His bold stance only poured gasoline on the fire, further polarizing the nation and cementing this battle as more than just a legal dispute. It was a cultural flashpoint. The trial at Brooklyn's federal courthouse captivated the nation, with reporters camped outside and the courtroom packed to capacity. What began as a dispute over a joke targeting Barron Trump had grown into a battle over the limits of free speech and media accountability. Melania Trump sat calmly in the front row, her resolve clear as her legal team argued that humor should never compromise a child's dignity. The courtroom fell silent as the offensive clip was played, the laughter in the broadcast contrasting with the somber atmosphere. This isn't about silencing comedy, her attorney argued. It's about drawing a line when satire targets the vulnerable. The defense leaned on the First Amendment, defending the comedian as someone challenging boundaries. They claimed satire by nature could be uncomfortable but served an important purpose. However, their stance was shaken when a surprise witness, a former network producer, revealed internal emails showing the joke had been pre-approved to spark outrage. One email bluntly stated, "Controversy sells," exposing the network's calculated strategy to boost ratings at any cost. The revelation shifted the focus from the comedian to the network's corporate culture, which valued profit over ethics. The defense faltered, struggling to justify their position in light of the evidence. The trial, once about a single offensive joke, became a broader indictment of the media's role in fueling sensationalism. For Melania, this wasn't just about her son anymore. It was about challenging a system that often sacrifices dignity for profit. The case sparked a national conversation about the responsibilities of media, questioning the ethical boundaries in the pursuit of entertainment. In taking this stand, Melania sent a powerful message. Protecting decency and respect should never be up for debate, even in the world of satire. As the trial reached its dramatic conclusion, the jury delivered a verdict that reverberated across the entertainment world. The host was found liable for defamation, and the network was slapped with a substantial financial penalty for its role in fostering a culture of sensationalism. The courtroom was silent as the decision sank in. This wasn't just a win for Melania Trump. It was a wake-up call for the entire industry. The ruling sent shockwaves far and wide, forcing networks, producers, and comedians to confront the weight of their words and the influence they wield over public discourse. No longer could "it's just a joke" be a blanket excuse. In a brief statement outside the courthouse, Melania reflected on the long road to victory. "This wasn't about silencing anyone," she said, her voice steady but tinged with emotion. "It was about protecting what matters most, our children's dignity and our shared responsibility to treat each other with respect." For Melania, the victory was bittersweet. The fight had been exhausting, both personally and emotionally, but she had achieved what she set out to do: stand up for her son and draw a line in the sand. This wasn't just a battle won, it was a statement that echoed far beyond the courtroom, reminding the world that respect must always come first. The trial sparked a cultural reckoning that extended far beyond the courtroom. Late-night shows began rethinking their approach to comedy, moving away from cheap shots and focusing on smarter, more pointed humor. Networks, feeling the heat, implemented tighter oversight to avoid crossing lines that once seemed blurred. For parents, the case served as a wake-up call, reminding them of the importance of protecting their children in a world increasingly shaped by public scrutiny and the relentless reach of social media. The story highlights the power of words and the balance between free speech and accountability. It challenges us to consider, should humor have limits? How do we protect dignity in a world driven by media and controversy? Share your thoughts. Where should society draw the line? Comment below.